Hey! Sorry, just you wake up and there's a stranger outside your house with a camera. Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah. No, I've been awake a long time.
Good to see you, Dan.
Good to see you. How are you?
Good, man. Love your spread. This is
Boat's out here with the wrap.
phenomenal.
You want to see it?
Yeah, let's take a look at that. I've seen it when we fish tournaments, but I never got to get close to it.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm glad this rain's done.
Me too.
Yeah.
But we needed it. Oh my gosh, you see, my pond was down 3 feet. It came up about 3 inches with this rain yesterday. So
Yeah.
we have just not had any rain. I mean,
Look.
it's been a month and a half. And
Look at that beautiful rig.
yep, it's designed to fish.
No kidding. Is it a brand new boat?
No, I'm about ready to sell this one. My new one's coming in December. This one I got in late December, early January.
Yeah.
So I get them once a year, Bass Cat boats,
Uh-huh.
and I'm getting the same one because I love this 22-footer Jaguar with that new hull. Oh my gosh.
It's pretty good, huh?
Oh, Sue is livid about how smooth.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this boat right here is the cat's meow. The beauty is too, for those that like speed, which we aren't, but if you like speed, you can put a 400 on this,
Oh, yeah.
and this thing will scream. With the right prop on mine with the 250 Yamaha, because I'm a Yamaha pro,
Yeah.
this thing right here will turn close to 70
Wow.
with a 250. But you can see this has plenty of deck, double seats, you know, to be able for both of us, she and I, and then we both have live scopes so we can both go out there and get them.
Very cool. What's it like fishing with the wife?
It's actually great.
Isn't it?
It is. But this year will be our 50th wedding anniversary,
Congratulations.
and our anniversary is during Dale Hollow.
Oh, in November.
In
Yeah.
November.
Okay.
And so it's been a big pressure thing about fishing, not fishing, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's the 50th, it's a big one.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
And all that. And,
Well, maybe you fly out after winning
you know,
Dale
We're
Hollow.
going to take a cruise in
Take
December.
a cruise, yeah.
Yeah, we are.
So what a wonderful thing. I mean, you know,
Yes.
I know everybody loves their wives, and sometimes you need a break from a wife every now and then, in my opinion, and wives need to do wively woman things.
And they need a break from us.
Oh, they definitely need a break from us. Don't you, Dana?
Yes.
But to compete with them, that's probably a whole other avenue of marriage that a lot of people will never experience. Being a teammate to the wife in a competition.
Yeah, it's different because, and it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Patience, you know, with both each other, you know, and communication, and
Right.
understanding that this isn't about each other; it's about
A
when
goal.
you're out there and the goal is to be efficient and, you know, doing those things.
Yeah, and you guys do that pretty well, don't you?
We do it pretty well.
Yeah.
We've won quite a few, you know, husband-wife events and and stuff, and the wives out there may or may not be as competitive when it comes to this, because this may not be their top choice of thing, but they do it because they want to be with you, and you better be wanting to do it with each other.
Yeah.
You know, and
I honestly, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think you would be a fool not to share some of the neat places that we get to go as crappie anglers and tournament competitors, because America is so beautiful. Like when I was driving here, I'm like, man, Alabama, this is cool. I want to move here. It's gorgeous. You know what I mean? And these lakes that we go to, there's only so much you can describe to the wife when you get back home about how much fun you had and how pretty the area was. But, you know, with her by your side, you both are sharing in a wonderful activity.
It's like no other thing. You're right. You can't explain it. Pictures don't depict it. Video doesn't do it. When you're out there in the water and the sunrise is coming up, you know, or you're in the evening and the sunset, and some of those are absolutely gorgeous, and you're going to see me post some of those. I mean, there's nothing like it. I mean, it's like the air gets the coolest first thing right before dawn.
Yeah.
and the experience of the birds and the activity when they're waking up an hour before the sun comes up.
Yeah.
And you hear the animals, and you'll see animals running on the shoreline or swimming across the lake, or a deer might be swimming across the lake in front of you. And the eagles, we've seen eagles, above us and fly over us and come down and get a crappie in front of us.
Yeah.
You can't, without experiencing that and having your wife or husband, or the other way around, the beauty is that you get to fulfill your whole life. What happens is, and this is from an old timer talking now, I couldn't have done this until I experienced it. And everyone will experience it, hopefully.
Okay.
When you go out there and you go through these stages of life, your first years of marriage, or you're building this bond, and you're getting to know each other's personalities and the things not to do and the things to do, and what's triggers and not triggers, for each other.
I think that's what stage I'm in. No, go ahead.
Then there's the stage of you've got all these kids and they're growing up, and you're trying to parent those kids.
Yeah.
And you're trying to parent yourself and your relationship.
Yeah.
And all the activities that you got to do that goes with that.
Right.
Which puts a demand on the family, along with financials and everything else.
Sometimes it just seems like you're passing the kid baton.
You are.
Back and forth.
And so once you get to the point where your kids are gone, guess what? All of a sudden it's back to where it was before you had kids.
Yeah.
But you're not the same age anymore.
No.
So you have all these experiences and you have all this stuff. Guess what? You kind of grew apart because one's trying to work, or both trying to work with two careers, or trying to raise kids in two careers, or one career in kids. So you've kind of grown apart because the different activities, you can't be involved in everything together.
True.
And so it becomes, you have to relearn again.
Yeah.
You have to relearn who you are. Well, guess what? At age 50, we go through a change. Men go through it. Women go through it. Both of us do. And we go through some traumatic times. So when you get through that, all of a sudden you realize, man, there's more to life here. And this person I came to life with, I've relearned what the things that bonded us through that whole thing, and what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah.
We got to do this after that.
Yeah.
When our grandkids came.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we get to get on the road, and now there aren't those other demands except the grandkids and wanting to visit, and they've now moved away. They've got their own careers and the whole bit. So,
would you say it's like each tournament is kind of like a vacation for you guys?
It is and it isn't. If
Okay.
you asked her that question, she'll say it's stressful.
Okay.
Because it's the demand on you. You've got to perform and the whole bit. So,
well, you're a high competitive guy.
I'm a competitive guy.
Yeah.
And so, she says, remember, Dan, to have fun.
Yeah.
And because that's what brought us to the game. And that's to have fun. Fishing should be fun.
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing that in a lot of the youngsters that we've got coming into the competitive side. And I try to tell them that, hey, it's not just the competitive part. It's have fun out there and the experiences you're going to have and the people and
competitive camaraderie.
Yes. And we got to get back to that. We got to understand there's a bonding between humans that we have to have. We have to have each other. If we don't have each other, then we're kind of like sitting on islands.
That's true.
And so through that whole thing, we tried at these pre-fishes, like we're going to Table Rock, we're going to have fun. We're going to go out there, no pressure in pre-fish. We're going to try some things. And we're also, some of our tournaments, we've actually gone out there because now I've already won the awards. I had a room full of plaques and trophies and all that stuff, and I still have a lot of them and the whole bit. And I've won just about everything. So my sponsors have come to me and said, Dan, it's not about the winning now with you.
Okay.
It's about, putting you in front of common folk who want to learn fishing and being fishing and what's it all about, and you and Sue being together and showing what a family is, and the fun in fishing and all of that, and they still want us to be competitive and still be out there in the tournaments. And some say don't go in the tournaments. Some say just go out and do seminars and do what you do, shows and all that. And and I'm still competitive. I still have to have, that's a part of me, and I'm about to turn 70. So,
Yeah.
This year. And so everybody says, well, when are you going to retire? I don't know if I want to retire because.
What is retiring when you love what you do?
You're there.
If you retired, you're just going to do what you do anyway, right?
You're going to find something.
That's how I feel.
And you're going to find something, and you're going to look and, okay, well, I'm going to replace it. Well, why do I want to replace it? So yeah, I can't do that. There will be a point where I can't, and so these sponsors have all said, you keep doing what you're doing and push the sport out there, push our product along with it. But if you show them how they can use the product, inherently they're going to come and use your product and use whatever it is. And I said, that's what brought me to the sport when I was a boy. And I've written on this in my magazine and editorials about my grandma taking me fishing. And I want to share this with you.
Okay.
This is important.
Okay.
This is a foot stomper.
All right, let's
hear it. Used to tell me when I used to teach in the Air Force. This is a foot stomper.
All right, foot stomper.
So, when I was a boy, growing up, my dad would take us fishing some. My brother and I, my second oldest, Jack, and I would fish a lot with, some with my dad. Not as much, but some. Then my grandma, on my dad's side, she would take us fishing whenever she could.
Uh-huh.
And she went at least twice a week.
Okay.
Now, I didn't know why she liked fishing so much or how long she had ever been fishing, because I'm a boy.
Yeah.
If I can go fishing and I'm out of school and the whole bit, she would take us, and we would spend at least 2 weeks with my grandma, and she only lived a drive of 20 minutes from us.
Okay.
Now, this isn't fishing like we know fishing. This is cane pole fishing. She gets the car out of the garage, puts the cane poles on used to have cane pole carriers.
Yeah.
And she always got their brand new cane poles every year at the hardware store, and we rigged them up with nylon line because that's all they had back then.
Okay.
And I still have her rods and reels back here in the corner,
really?
Which are the steel rods and reels that were put out by Shakespeare and all those in the first wave of reels and rods.
Wow.
And there were hers. And we fished for everything that would bite.
Right.
And we caught everything that would bite in ditches in southeast Missouri.
Okay.
The Boot Hill. And so we'd fish for bluegill, you name it. Anything would bite. And it all came home that was keepers at the end of the day, and it was all cleaned. Her table and her kitchen would be cleaned off, and and she'd fillet it all down, and then she'd freeze it up, and that would be our fish for for the year.
Yeah.
And we fished all year round. So that's when I learned fishing, and I got hooked on fishing.
Yeah.
And it was due to my grandmother. The reason why I didn't know this till after she passed. My dad's brother and my two brothers were in the Navy. And they were in the Navy at the end of World War II going into the Korean conflict. And my dad was in the Navy for 8 years and then went in the reserves because they forced him because his brother died on board ship.
Ooh.
At the end of World War II, they were off the coast, and things were starting to emerge into a Korean conflict even then, but it wasn't out to the world. And so they had a ship fire, and he literally burned up in the ship fire. Mm. And so there's a law that says out there that if your brother or sibling dies in combat, that they should not put you into a war zone so that you lose more than one sibling.
Okay. They
haven't honored that as much in the recent years because of the stress of the different types of wars and conflicts. But they then told my dad he could not be on a warship, and he loved being on the ships. So he had to go in the reserves and the whole bit. Well, that was very traumatic to my grandma.
Okay.
She fished very little before that happened. And the doctor said, you need to take up a hobby.
Okay.
And they played cards, and she had her social card games and all that. But she took up fishing.
Yeah.
And us two boys were part of that.
Therapy.
Did not know that.
Wow.
And so we became the therapy for her, you know, and the
Yeah.
other way around for us that taught us fishing.
Wow. There's the foot stomp. I get it.
And so everything in life has a reason. Everything in life taught me that I need to teach my kids and others how to fish and be involved in that sport the rest of my life.
Isn't it a great outlet?
It is.
I mean, you never get closer to nature. You know what I mean? The serenity and the beauty is unmatched. The excitement of not knowing whether it's going to be a good day or a bad day. And then the accomplishment factor. I mean, you catch a bunch of crappie, you're going to eat good that night.
That's right.
And it's a celebration at that point.
At the end of it, you get to go home and clean them and put them in the fry. And the wife, if she didn't go with you, then says, "Oh man, let's fry these up and let's make these things and let's eat them and a whole bit." And so through the years, my boys, I got pictures of my boys when we grew up, and now I have a granddaughter that's in Texas that is a big time fisherman, Maddie, and she is now dating a boy because he's that age.
Yeah,
dating a boy who is on the bass teams.
Okay,
so you know, the one thing is you can do something that's fun and you can do something that's rewarding in life. Because the one thing is that, and I don't talk a lot of this, I'm not one of these preacher type fishermen in the whole bit, but
right.
I'm deeply, deeply tied to him.
Yeah.
And when you go out there, you see the creation, you wonder, how in the world, you know, did you create all this?
Yeah.
And make it so wonderful. And we've got to think positive. So in the worst days of my military, in the worst days of careers and the whole bit, instead of just losing it,
Right. Go fishing.
go fishing.
Yeah.
Even if it's a ditch that's got fish in it, go fishing. My grandmother would do that, and she lived a full life, and I never knew she had those parts of
Issues.
depression.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that because she took that up along other type things, but that was her main thing.
That was her medicinal
Yes.
activity.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel that way too. Sometimes with my job, I get stressed out and I'm like, feel like I'm going to kick a kitten. I'm like, man, I need to go fishing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And
Speaking of fishing in ditches, I see you got a nice little
pond out here.
pond out there. Are there any fish over there?
There's a lot of fish in there. This is my...
I was going to say, if there's not any fish in that pond, you sure have wasted a lot of mossback habitat in there.
Let me tell you, I put this on this morning because I want you to know that I told Mossback when I first saw him, I said, you know, instead of putting in all this timber like I'd done in lakes over the years,
Yeah.
I said, man, I think you've got a great idea here when they first started. And I said, I think we need to do that. So John Godwin and I got talking about it and the whole bit, and John and I both were signed on, and I said, you know what, we're going to test it. I'll be the test bed for you.
Okay.
So we put in, I put in, and I'm still putting in some. I've got 32 in there right now, different types.
Yeah.
And we bought this beautiful property, and this was my dream for all these years, to be able to own a property and get out in the country, because I grew up in the country. I hauled hay as a boy. You know, my family has a history of roots of, not my dad, but my grandmas and my great-grandmas and all them in farming. That's where we came from.
Yeah.
In the Boot Hill, Missouri, it was farming. This one was a catfish pond, and it had catfish and bluegill only, but I didn't know that when I bought it. I had to get that from somebody afterwards. And so I brought in excavators and the whole bit, and we dug it out, made it 2 acres, and we deepened it some, but we didn't drain it. We left everything that was in it.
Okay.
And I now have 3 big channel cat, one up to 15 pounds in here.
Oh,
It is
wow.
a huge channel cat.
Okay.
And we have one called Spot that has a white spot on her.
Yeah.
Why, I don't know. And she's a little bit smaller than that great big one. And then there's one, like a sister to her.
These are kind of like your pets.
These were the matriarchs.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now I've caught all of them.
Yeah.
And this beginning of this year, I caught the biggest one, and literally she's 4 feet long.
Wow.
And she is as long as, I couldn't even lift her. I put her alongside the dock, and I unhooked the little, believe it or not, I was using a 32nd ounce jig.
Are you kidding me?
and caught her again, and I let her go. Well, when we took it over, the fish were malnourished.
Uh-huh.
And there was an overpopulation of baby channel cat that were just this long.
Okay.
And they were skinny.
Yeah.
And the big ones were real thin. They're not now. So what we did is there was a cross fence that went through the pond where they would let the stallion in away from the mares.
Okay.
And we took that out, and then we deepened it, and I put in all the moss backs. Then I came in and put in from the Arkansas pond stockers. I put in 200 of the hybrid bluegill 2 years ago.
Okay. 200
red ear, they're 4 inches long when I put them in. And then I went out and caught 5 bass and put in 4 spotted bass and 1 largemouth.
Keep going. I'm waiting.
And then I put in 40 to 50 crappie.
Yes.
From
yes.
white crappie up to 2.5 pounds
No
down
way.
to blacks that are a pound and a quarter. And then I put in this year 200 more hybrid bluegill. And
okay, we don't need to go on. Where's the poles? Let's go.
Let's go.
You said there's some crappie in there. We got some poles? Really? We get to fish it? You're gonna?
Come on.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
We got hybrid bluegill in here now.
Hybrid bluegill. I've only caught 1 red ear.
These fish are up to a pound and a quarter now.
Wow.
And we have bluegill by the thousands that have multiplied.
Ah, I love bluegill.
And so we'll catch a little bit of everything. Let's go out let's go take a ride. Let's go down to the pond.
All right. Dan, thank you so much. This has been such fun and so educational and so inspirational. I mean, on so many aspects, not only just talking about your success and your knowledge and your experience in the crappie world, but in marriage as well, fishing with your love of your life. I mean, that's just very inspirational all the way around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that very, very much. And same here, because I've watched you grow and watch come through it at Kirby, and love seeing your shows, love seeing your YouTube work and all that stuff. And it's nothing but a positive for this industry. And I love this sport.
Yeah.
I have loved this sport from day one. And I think that's why, in that story I was telling you about with Paul and all of them, I think God has plans for us.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we'll resist going the direction that God wants us to go in a plan like that.
Right.
And sometimes just let it flow.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why it's letting it flow. And by the way, we don't meet by chance.
No,
I'm a master plan,
dude. I'm a firm believer that there are no coincidences in life.
Yes.
And like I was telling you off camera, I said I've always been kind of envious of you being so dedicated to Garmin, which is in my backyard, and they hire me to DJ their parties and that sort of stuff. So when they started, this whole sonar division of Garmin, who's, famous in the aviation and the wearables now, you can do anything on your watch. But when they started the marine division and they kind of asked me if I'd like to be on, I'd like, yeah, I would. And then guess what? They're signing up the Scott Martins and the really big names in fishing. And I kept looking for a crappie guy, and I couldn't find a crappie guy. And then boom, Dan Dannenmueller comes on as the first Garmin Pro Staff, and I'm like, I want to be that guy. And then, and now when I see your beautiful spread and the fact that you fish with your lovely wife Sue, who couldn't be with us today, I want to be you even more. So
I want to be. We're bros in this.
Yeah.
In crappie fishing in this industry.
Yeah.
With B&M and all of the guys, Garmin.
Yeah.
And all that, and what great companies to be part of.
Yeah.
And they believe in what they are doing, and that's what I found in all the staff in Garmin and the engineers and the B&M Jack and Kent and all the people in crop and other companies.
Yeah.
Bobby Garland, and all of them have this passion for this, and it's something you don't have to read. It's there.
Yeah. And Jack Wells kind of summed it up, and Jeff Smith, when they came up with the mission statement, that yeah, they want to sell product, but the whole underlying aspect of the whole fishing industry is for you to get outdoors and create memories with your family and your loved ones, and you are a fine example of that, my friend.
Thank you.
So,
and that's what I want to be.
Thank you for your
That's
time.
What we're doing. Thank you for coming here, and I think we got a delivery.
Yeah, we do. So we'll go up there and probably get some more fishing gear.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be fishing gear.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Kirby. This is a great thing.
This is fun.
Thank you so much for watching Fish, Eat, Live. Our mission is to demonstrate the benefits of the Fish, Eat, Live lifestyle. We look forward to educating, entertaining, and attracting you to the healthy lifestyle of the great outdoors. We're definitely going to have some wholesome family fun on the water every Sunday at 6 p.m. So hit that subscription and that notification bell because we want you to come be a part of this.